All right, so retirement. We
Yeah.
talk about saving for retirement all the time, right?
Yeah.
But one thing I think people don't think about enough is healthcare costs in retirement.
That's true.
Like, those can be just absolutely massive.
Yeah, they really can.
And there's actually this really powerful tool that most people aren't using to its full potential.
Absolutely.
It's called a health savings account, or an HSA.
Yeah. It's not even just about, like, covering your everyday medical expenses.
Right.
It's like building this dedicated healthcare nest egg
Yeah.
to help you navigate rising healthcare costs, especially as you get older.
Yeah, and we've got this NBC article we're looking at today. Plus, we pulled in a bunch of other data and research.
Right.
And it really paints this pretty eye-opening picture.
Yeah.
Like, did you know that Fidelity actually estimates that a 65-year-old retiring today could be looking at around $165,000 in healthcare expenses throughout retirement?
Yeah, that's right.
Wild.
And I think that number just underscores why it's so crucial to start thinking about this early on.
Really?
Imagine, like, you're in retirement and you get hit with this bill, this healthcare bill, for $165,000.
Right. Oh my gosh. Yeah.
It could really impact your financial security.
Absolutely.
But an HSA could be that buffer.
Yeah, that financial cushion.
Exactly.
So we're going to deep dive into HSAs today, explore exactly how they work.
Yeah.
We'll uncover why this might be the ultimate retirement healthcare hack.
It really might be, yeah.
Before we get into the nitty-gritty, can we just back up for a sec?
Yeah, sure.
What exactly is an HSA, and what makes them so special?
So an HSA, a health savings account, is a tax-advantaged savings account that you can use to pay for qualified medical expenses.
Oh?
But the real kicker is that it comes with this triple tax advantage.
Ooh, I like the sound of that already.
You get a tax deduction for your contributions, the money grows tax-free,
Okay.
and you can withdraw it tax-free for those qualified medical expenses.
So wait a minute, it's like a supercharged savings account specifically for healthcare.
Pretty much, yeah.
That sounds almost too good to be true.
I know, right?
It's really remarkable.
It is.
Right.
And a lot of financial experts actually highlight this as a game changer for retirement planning.
Yeah.
The NBC article actually
Yeah.
quotes a financial expert calling HSAs the only triple tax-free account in America.
Wow, all right.
Yeah.
Okay, now I'm really intrigued. But I'm thinking about those flexible spending accounts.
Uh-huh.
The FSAs.
Yes,
Aren't those also for medical expenses?
they are.
So how do these HSAs stack up against those?
That's a really good question, and it's something that a lot of people get confused about.
Sure.
The key difference really boils down to their long-term potential.
Okay.
With an FSA, you generally have to use that money within the year,
Oh, okay.
or you lose it.
Yeah, right.
But an HSA is really designed for that long-term savings.
Gotcha.
So you can roll over those funds year after year.
Okay.
Let them grow and compound over time.
So it's like an HSA is a marathon runner,
Uh-huh.
steadily building up that healthcare nest egg.
Yeah.
An FSA is more of a sprinter. Yeah.
Focused on the here and now.
I like that analogy. That's a good one.
And that long-term perspective, I think, is what makes HSAs so powerful.
Yes.
Especially when you consider the fact that 2/3 of companies, according to the Plan Sponsor Council of America,
Wow.
now offer investment options within their HSA programs.
That's incredible.
Hold on, investment options within an HSA.
Yes.
So not only do I get those tax advantages,
Ah.
but I can potentially grow my savings even faster by investing those funds.
That's right.
This is starting to sound like a financial superhero's secret weapon.
It really is.
But here's the thing. If these HSAs are so incredible,
Yeah.
why aren't more people taking advantage of them?
That's a good question.
Especially the investment aspect of it.
Yeah.
The article actually mentioned that only a small percentage of HSA holders are actually investing.
Yeah. It's kind of a head scratcher.
What's the thought with that?
I think there's a few factors at play.
Some people just simply aren't aware of all the benefits and flexibility that HSAs offer.
Okay.
Others might be struggling with immediate costs of healthcare.
Right.
And find it difficult to prioritize long-term savings.
Sure.
And then there's also the psychological side of things.
Interesting.
Sometimes we humans, we just aren't wired to think that far ahead.
So it's a mix of awareness,
Yeah.
affordability,
Mhm.
and even a little bit of human psychology that's kind of holding people back.
Absolutely. And that's something we'll unpack throughout this deep dive.
Okay.
We're going to explore some practical strategies for overcoming these hurdles.
Okay, cool.
Look at some real life scenarios and even delve into that psychology behind why we sometimes make those financial decisions that aren't in our best long-term interest.
Okay, I am so ready to dive in.
Let's do it.
This is already shedding a whole new light on how I think about healthcare savings.
I think it will for a lot of people.
But before we get too far ahead of ourselves,
Yeah.
let's take a closer look at this triple tax advantage everyone keeps talking about.
Okay.
Can we break that down a little bit further?
Absolutely. Let's start with that first tax benefit. So let's illustrate this triple tax advantage.
Okay.
With an example. Imagine you're contributing, say, $3,000 a year to your HSA.
Yeah.
Depending on your tax bracket, that can mean saving hundreds of dollars in taxes
Okay.
right off the bat.
Yeah, I see how that upfront deduction can make a difference,
Right.
especially if you're in a higher tax bracket.
Absolutely.
But what about the tax-free growth?
Yeah.
How does that work?
So it's similar to a Roth IRA in that sense.
Okay.
Your contributions are going to grow tax-free.
Oh.
Meaning you won't owe any taxes on any of the investment earnings or interest that accrues within the account.
Gotcha.
Over time, that can really add up.
So it's like a double whammy.
Yes.
Tax savings on the way in and tax-free growth along the way.
That's right.
But we're not done yet, right?
Not even close.
There's still that third tax advantage to consider.
Exactly. And that's the ability to withdraw those funds tax-free
Okay.
for qualified medical expenses.
Okay.
So whether it's doctor's visits, prescriptions, even long-term care costs.
Wow.
Those withdrawals are completely tax-free as long as they meet those IRS guidelines.
Okay, now that's what I call a sweet deal.
Right.
I'm hearing from some of our listeners, though. They're like, this all sounds great, but how do I even begin to incorporate an HSA into my financial plan?
That's a really good question. And the first step is to make sure you're eligible.
Right.
So to qualify for an HSA, you need to be enrolled in a high deductible health plan.
Right, an HDHP.
Exactly.
I know that can be a bit of a trade-off for people.
You can be.
Lower premiums,
Right.
higher deductibles.
Yeah.
It's a balancing act, isn't it?
It is. And you're going to want to assess your own individual health needs
Right.
and your financial situation
Yeah.
to determine if an HDHP is the right fit for you. But, generally, if you're a healthy person
Yeah.
and you don't anticipate major medical expenses,
Yeah.
pairing an HDHP with an HSA can really be a winning combination.
Makes sense. What about those who might be like on the fence,
Yeah.
worried about those higher deductibles?
Yeah.
Any advice for them?
Absolutely. One strategy is to build what I call a deductible cushion in your HSA
Okay.
and aim to have enough saved to cover that deductible,
Right.
just in case of unexpected medical expenses.
Yeah, that's smart.
That way you have peace of mind knowing you're covered,
Yeah.
but you're still reaping those long-term benefits of that HSA.
That's a great point.
Yeah.
Like, it's like that extra layer of protection
Right.
while still letting those savings grow.
Easily.
But let's be honest, not everybody has the financial flexibility
Of course.
to just max out their HSA contributions every year.
Yeah.
Especially if they're dealing with current healthcare costs.
Right.
What advice do you have for those folks?
Well, I think even small, consistent contributions can make a big difference over time.
Okay.
Think of it like this. If you just contribute $50 a month,
Yeah.
that's $600 a year.
Okay.
And with those tax advantages and potential investment growth, that $600 can turn into something really significant down the road.
Okay, so slow and steady wins the race.
Exactly.
Exactly, I like that approach. But speaking of investing,
Yes,
you mentioned that some HSAs offer investment options.
they do.
And I think that's where it can get a little intimidating for people.
Sure.
Not everybody's a Wall Street whiz,
I get it, but it really doesn't have to be that complicated.
Okay.
A lot of HSA providers actually offer really simple, low-cost investment options,
Okay.
like index funds or target date retirement funds.
Oh, yeah.
And these are designed to be relatively hands-off.
Okay.
So you can benefit from that market growth without having to be a stock-picking expert.
So I can essentially set it and forget it.
Exactly.
Let those investments kind of grow while I focus on other things.
That's right. And as you become more comfortable, you can always explore other investment options
Oh,
or adjust your strategy as needed.
sure.
But remember, the key is to just start early
Okay.
and stay consistent. That power of compound growth,
Yes.
it's on your side.
This is all starting to click for me.
Good.
We've got this amazing savings vehicle that offers triple tax advantages,
Mm-hmm.
long-term growth potential,
Yeah.
and even investment options.
You got it.
But there's still this nagging feeling that something's holding people back.
Yeah, you're right. And that's where I think we need to kind of delve into the psychology
Right.
of saving and investing
Yeah.
and explore those mental roadblocks that can sometimes sabotage our best financial intentions.
Okay, let's get into it.
Okay.
So we've talked about all the amazing benefits of HSAs.
Yeah.
And even laid out some practical strategies for how to make them work.
Absolutely.
But let's be real.
Yeah.
Sometimes even when we know what's good for us, we don't always do it.
That's the truth.
And I think that's kind of where this whole psychological piece comes into play, right?
Absolutely. There's a whole field. It's called behavioral economics.
Okay.
Dedicated to understanding why we make the financial decisions that we do.
Mm-hmm.
And it turns out we're not always rational.
Okay, so you're telling me our brains aren't always wired for financial success.
Not always, no. One of the biggest culprits is something called present bias.
Present bias. Okay.
It's our tendency to overvalue immediate rewards
Okay.
and undervalue future rewards.
So choosing that delicious slice of cake today,
Yeah.
even though I know it might derail my fitness goals for tomorrow.
Exactly. And in the context of HSAs, present bias can make it really tempting to spend those funds on immediate needs,
Right.
even if it means sacrificing that long-term growth.
So future me can deal with those healthcare costs. Present me wants that new gadget.
That's it, yeah. It's very human. And it's often compounded by another bias that we have called optimism bias.
Optimism bias.
And it's our tendency to underestimate the likelihood of negative events happening to us.
Right.
Especially in the future.
So we think, oh, I'm healthy now. I probably won't have any major health issues later on.
Exactly. And it's great to be optimistic.
Of course.
But sometimes that bias can lead us to make decisions that aren't in our best long-term interest.
Okay.
We might delay saving or investing.
Yeah.
Because we don't believe that those future healthcare costs will be as significant as they're projected to be.
So present bias makes us want to spend now.
Yeah.
Optimism bias makes us downplay those future risks. That's like a recipe for not saving enough.
It can be. It really can. And there's one more psychological factor that I want to mention.
Okay.
It's called loss aversion.
Loss aversion. Okay.
And this refers to the fact that we feel the pain of a loss much more strongly than the pleasure of an equivalent gain.
So the idea of me potentially losing money in the stock market, even if it's just a short-term dip, feels way scarier than the potential of me earning even more money over time.
100%. And this can make people hesitant to invest, even if it means missing out on significant long-term growth.
Yeah, makes sense.
And this can be a major roadblock for people who are considering investing those HSA funds.
Wow, these psychological barriers are fascinating.
They're really interesting.
It's there's this whole mental game going on when it comes to saving and investing.
Absolutely.
Knowing all of this, though, what can we do to combat these biases?
Well, I think one really effective strategy is to automate your savings.
Okay.
So set up those regular automatic contributions to your HSA.
Okay.
Just like you would with your 401k.
Yeah.
So it takes the decision-making out of the equation.
Right.
It helps you overcome that present bias.
Out of sight, out of mind.
Exactly, yeah.
I do that with my retirement savings, and it definitely takes the pressure off.
It really does.
Yeah.
Another helpful tip is to visualize your future self.
Okay.
Really picture yourself in retirement.
Yeah.
Enjoying your life. But also facing those potential healthcare expenses.
Right.
Imagine the peace of mind.
Yeah.
That comes with knowing you have that dedicated fund to cover those costs.
That's a great idea.
Yeah, it really helps.
Make those future goals feel more real.
Absolutely.
More tangible, not just some abstract concept.
Exactly. And when it comes to investing, remember that it's a long game.
Right.
There will be ups and downs in the market.
For sure.
But historically, the stock market has trended upwards.
Yeah.
Over the long term.
So it's about focusing on that long-term horizon.
Yes.
And not letting those short-term fluctuations derail our strategy.
100%. And don't be afraid to seek guidance from a financial advisor.
Yeah, that's always a good idea.
They can really help you create a diversified investment strategy that aligns with your risk tolerance and those long-term goals.
This has been such an eye-opening deep dive into the world of HSAs.
It has been, yeah.
We've explored the triple tax advantages, the power of that long-term growth, and even those psychological factors that can kind of influence our financial decisions.
It's been a pleasure exploring all this with you. Hopefully, our listeners feel empowered to take control of their healthcare savings.
Absolutely.
and really plan for a financially secure future.
And remember, knowledge is power.
Yes.
The more you understand about HSAs, the better equipped you'll be.
That's right.
To make those informed decisions about your healthcare and finances.
Well said. Maybe this conversation has even sparked some ideas for future deep dives.
I like that.
We'll be back soon.
Okay.
With more insights and tips to help you navigate the world of personal finance.
I love it.
Until then, happy saving and investing.
That's a wrap, everybody.